So why don't we start by thinking about way before the presentation? Because how good would your presentation be if you didn't prepare for it thoroughly? So here are some tips for before you show up at the presentation. Establish a clear purpose. What is it that you want to do? If you can't get it down to that unique value proposition, you've lost something. And of course, that unique value proposition is going to bring together 1 and 2, right? What I want to say, establish a clear purpose, what they want to hear, focus on the audience's concerns. So as an example, my job here today is to give you a lot of stuff that I know about presentations. Why? Because I want these things to apply to you when you do presentations. I'm trying to give you as many tips as I can and as many as are practical to your presenting at work. Okay, number 3, determine structure and transitions, okay? So you want to make sure, for example, my presentation has 4 sections to it, okay? I have the challenges to presentations, I have the graphics tips, I have the content tips, and I have the delivery tips, okay? That was the structure I determined. Then what am I going to say from slide to slide and from section to section? Notice I never did summarize everything I said until I got to the transition between the 3rd part and the 4th part, because we had said so much. I wanted you to stay focused on how I'm going to now deliver some of those things that I wrote down and some of those slides that I presented to you. Okay, the 4th tip, practice relentlessly. I'm going to say something that you might think is crazy, but I'm going to take this from the theater world. In the theater world, and I've written quite a few plays myself, directors will often say, well, for every minute of the play, we need an hour rehearsal time, an hour of prep. So yeah, if it's a 90-minute play, we're talking 90 hours of rehearsal time. Now, if you're thinking, well, I have a 10-minute presentation, let's say, I have to rehearse this 10 hours? Maybe not every single time you do the same presentation, but I would go so far as saying, if this one really matters, yes, the answer is yes. And I do want to give you one where I actually did do that. I wanted to get this very major contract once for a client in the transportation industry, which is why I showed you that Chappaqua slide earlier. Okay. So this was a really important opportunity for me, and I really wanted to get this project. I was given a letter saying that you will have 15 minutes to present and allow us 15 minutes to answer questions. I automatically said to myself, I need 15 hours of prep time. And I actually put that much time into it. Now, I had already been in business independently for 5 years. So I already had quite a bit of experience. And I was already not that young. So that 5 years experience was built on all the years I worked as an employee. But now I'm in my own business, and I said, I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to put an hour for each minute I do. It turns out that I didn't need 30 minutes, right? Because within that 15 minutes, I also listed questions they might ask, how I would respond to those questions. And I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, you're still going to be surprised. Someone's going to throw a question at you that you won't be prepared for. But the over-preparing is going to be extremely helpful, because if you get really nervous, you still won't forget your content.